So now we get down to some practical basics. How do you do a wide read at university? How do you actually go about reading widely in order to compare ideas and get a feeling for what's out there, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what needs closer look? So the idea with a wide reading is on your first read, you're looking for broad themes. You're trying to get the general feeling, the general idea, the overall point of view. So you might read the introduction carefully and the conclusion. You might read the abstract if they've got one. Not every article or sometimes book, you might be reading a book, they might not have an abstract. Otherwise you can scan and try to pick up a main thread. Try to see what the main idea is or the main argument. One way you might do this is you could look for topic sentences. Each paragraph will have a sentence that kind of encapsulates what that paragraph is trying to say. Usually it's right at the top, but if you can find that and you get an overall sense of what each paragraph is trying to say, then read each of those, you get an overall sense of what the whole text is trying to say. The idea is you don't want to read everything in detail, because if you spend all your time doing a close reading of every single text that might possibly be relevant to your course or your essay, then you're not going to have time to actually start to write and distill your own point of view based on, well, you've done a wide read and you've tried to identify the crucial issues, trying to distill the points that you then see as very important to address in this particular task or in this particular question, answering this particular question. So we're going to do an activity now just to see what a wide read might look like. It's not really an activity, it's more of a demonstration. So we're going to extrapolate what this text might be about just by providing you with the topic sentences. So here's a text. Now the topic sentence of the introduction, I'm not going to give you the whole text, just the topic sentences. The topic sentence of the introduction just says, a major change that has occurred in the Western family is an increased incident in divorce. Now the first paragraph topic sentence, so we move on to the first paragraph and we look for the topic sentence for that. In this case it was the first sentence, but again it might be the second one down. Just have a scan and see if you can pick up the main ideas. But in this case the first paragraph topic sentence was, one type of explanation for rising divorce has focused on changes in laws relating to marriage. And then we look down, the second paragraph, first sentence says, another type of explanation is one that focuses precisely on these broad societal changes. Then we look down and the conclusion has a topic sentence, which was, it's difficult to offer a comprehensive explanation for the growing trend of marital breakdown. It might be worth looking at the final sentence of the conclusion just to get an overall feel for what perhaps the main idea of this text is trying to say. Now in this case the final sentence was, as I've argued in this essay, the most useful answers are to be found not within a narrow legal framework, but rather within a broader socio-economic one. So now, just knowing these things, not having read the whole article, how can we get a feeling, how can we try to understand what the main idea or even a main argument coming through this essay might be? So what was this essay about? What was this piece actually addressing? Have a think and see if you can come up with an answer. I'll give you 2 seconds because this is a demonstration. So actually it was a piece responding to the question, discuss the different explanations given for the rising divorce rate in Australia. Which explanation do you think is most convincing? And if you came up with something like that, well, that's really the process of wide reading. The whole point is to think about what could be the main idea or the main point of this article or chapter or book before you go, all right, well, which are the sections that I then need to read closely and carefully in order to answer the question? So that's what we're going to talk about in the topic following this one. Right now, you've got an idea of wide reading. You can go out and collect a whole pile of books and start your wide reading for your next assignment task.